Hey guys, I'm sure you guys know a little bit of a difference here. The 1850s over there and not over here. So, the good news is, the 1555 is back together again, after all new bearings. So, as I always, like I mentioned in the last couple videos, if you watched them, is that I was spreading manure with it Thanksgiving Day, and I know it took this long to get it back together, but anyhow, so long story short, after Thanksgiving Day, it spun a bearings, or, well, anyhow, we'll put it this way, is that I was spreading with it, and it started making a knocking noise, right there from the exhaust, and that's not the original exhaust. I bought that exhaust, actually just the other day, and I modified it to make it fit on that pipe, so, and I would ain't the right muffler, but it'll do. I think it's for formal H&M, but anyhow, so, long story short, this is back together, so, anyhow, like, if you watch my other videos of this being apart, we had to take it back apart twice. I had all the hood and stuff on, everything on. And then we had to take it back apart again to adjust the valves, put a new valve cover gasket. We put a new valve cover gasket on, a new oil pan gasket, changed all the bearings. What else did I do? So, anyhow, what we ended up finding out whenever we dug farther is that, so last night we dug into it. We took one main bearing off and one rod bearing. The rod bearing was okay. I just can't remember which one it was. And I think it was this back one here. Let me see if I can find it. So, I think it was this bearing here. Was this one or this one that we took apart? I can't remember. But anyhow, so long story short, we ended up taking the rest of the bearings out because we didn't know which one it was, or if it was a main bearing or a rod bearing. Turned out to be, I think it was a rod bearing. I'm not sure. I think it spun a rod bearing. I believe it was this, back on the other side. I think it was one of these ones. It was one of these two. It was one of those ones that it spun. So, if you guys want to know what the bearings look like, right here is the rod bearing. Can't tell because they still have oil all over them. These are the old rod bearings. And the other rod bearings are over here. There's the two main bearings. Here's the rod bearing. I think that's the one that spun right there. It was that one, or yeah, see that one there wasn't bad. I think it was this one or that other one that I showed you it spun. So anyhow, long story short, yeah, I know the benches on the mess, I haven't cleaned it up yet. So, anyhow, the good thing is this thing's all back together. And, figured I'll go ahead and do a video on that, so. Like I said, it seems to be running okay. I drove it up and down the driveway, which I took a small short, I think it was like a minute or two video of going down the driveway. Just at an idle, or it might have been a little bit above idle, because I don't want to run it wide open to make sure that the bearings are lubricated and everything. So, anyhow, what I'm going to do, I might actually show how to do an oil change on this, because I have to change the oil either 10 or 20 hours, and that's how many hours were on it before I started running it. And I put the filter on, like, back months ago, but I ended up putting today's date on. Today is February 17th. Clearly, 2020. Right there's the date. No, it doesn't look like much of a 2, but anyhow. I think that's it for this video, so. Like I said, the only other thing that's wrong with it, I think one of the injectors is misfiring and this fuel pump's leaking it, but it's been leaking. But I don't know which one it's, I don't know if it's this one that's misfiring or one of the other ones, but anyhow, you can hear it. So, as always, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe.